Good afternoon. We'll call to order the April 23rd policy session of the Phoenix City Council. Will the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Galindo Elvira. Here. Councilwoman Guardado.
Here.
Councilwoman Hodge Washington.
Here.
Councilwoman O'Brien.
Here.
Councilwoman Pastor.
Here.
Councilman Robinson.
Here.
Councilman Waring.
Here.
Vice Mayor Stark.
Here.
Mayor Gallego.
Here. Very hardworking Mario Barajas is with us to provide Spanish interpretation. I already had a full day of work. Mario, would you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Mayor. It sure has. Good afternoon. My name is Mario Barajas. I'm going to be one of today's Spanish interpreters, along with my colleague Daniel. Will be serving as today's Spanish interpreters. And I'll take a moment to introduce ourselves to our Spanish audience. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Mario Barajas. Junto con mi colega Daniel, vamos a estarles sirviendo como intérpretes. Solamente queremos informarles brevemente de que si acaso van a dar un comentario público, por favor, si pueden hacer pausas después de cada una o dos oraciones, también tratar de evitar distracciones de fondo y finalmente estar atento en la cantidad de tiempo que estén hablando para que podamos interpretar de la mejor manera posible. Muchas gracias. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mario. Today, our main event will be the Final Four, but we also get to celebrate council members who have marked important anniversaries. And we'll begin today with council member updates and requests for information with a councilwoman who's just celebrated a year milestone, Councilwoman Hodge Washington, who will be followed by Councilwoman Pastor.
Thank you, Mayor. Since our last policy meeting, I officially celebrated 1 year of service here on our City Council. I'm honored to reflect on an incredible year serving District 8 residents, and I am overwhelmed with gratitude. Next slide, please. From the successful passage of the $500 million Go Bond campaign to the countless moments engaging with constituents and participating in community events, it has been a humbling privilege. I want to again thank the District 8 residents for entrusting me with this opportunity to make a difference. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, sorry. Over the past year, I've hosted Energize 8 roundtables, which are community-centric meetings held around the district where residents met with department staff to collaboratively brainstorm professional ways to address community concerns. I also convened a District 8 policy retreat with stakeholders and city staff to focus on housing, homelessness, and economic development. Within the first few weeks of taking office, I took part in community budget hearings, listened to my community's concern, and supported the 2023-2024 budget. Next slide. My office has been hard at work addressing hundreds of constituent concerns and requests, and my schedule has been full, not only with briefings and meetings, but I've attended over 250 community events. Next slide. I had the opportunity to lobby our congressional delegation by advocating for additional housing choice vouchers. I've worked to advance development projects to add over 50 new dwelling units in District 8 and supported ordinance changes to allow accessory dwelling units updates to streamline the development process and in turn reduce costs. Being an engaged member does not mean just showing up to community events. It also means putting in the hard work into subcommittee meetings and other boards where I represent not only my district, but the entire city. Next slide. Around the district in the last 2 weeks, I want to start off by extending a special thank you to our interim police chief, Michael Sullivan, TJ Martin from Law, and Zach Wallace from the city manager's office, and all of the residents in my district who attended my District 8 Town Hall DOJ discussion. It was important to me to ensure that the community had a chance to share feedback with Chief Sullivan, and this forum allowed for a thoughtful discussion. I also had the opportunity to take part in the South Mountain Community College President's Community Advisory Council. I'm grateful for the work that Dr. Richard Daniel is doing, and I'm happy to support him as he diligently supports the educational needs of our community. It was a pleasure to see their new career center at South Mountain Community College. And then next slide. Finally, I had a constructive initial discussion with the unsheltered providers to discuss their plans for the upcoming conclusion of ARPA funds. I'm sure there's more to follow. Next slide. That is all I have for this week. As always, do not hesitate to contact or reach out if you need any help with city services or notice an issue in your neighborhood. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman, and congratulations. We'll go to Councilwoman Pastor and then Councilwoman Guardado.
you. Congratulations to all the exceptional community leaders who were recognized at this year's Volunteer Impact Awards. For some of them. On Saturday, next slide, District 4 spent the day at Celito Park with Chispas, Arizona for the Earth Day Festival. On Sunday, we walked for clean water with Midtown Neighborhood Association at Steele Indian School Park. Happy belated Earth Day. Next slide. Valley Metro hosted the Fiesta on Central this past Saturday, highlighting local business in the South Central and celebrating the progress we've made on the South Central extension of light rail, 80% of it done. The Carnation Association of Neighbors used their park activation grant to host Music in the Park at Steele Indian. We had a great time with the firefighters and Parks and Recreation who brought games and a bounce house for the kids. As you can see, I'm in a firefighter suit, which was very hot. They taught me a lesson on the weight also. Next slide. Summer is coming soon. Join me on May 22nd at 6 p.m. at Tortas Paquime on Van Buren for a West Side community coffee chat to discuss the city's heat response efforts. Meet your neighbors and connect with the City of Phoenix resources while enjoying some delicious tortas and tacos. Saturday marked the 25th anniversary of Columbine. In the 25 years since, such incidents have become all too common. We've been working with Phoenix Union staff and students to learn more about safety concerns on campus and include safe reporting measures in the student handbook. Students deserve to have their voices heard and participate in changes like these. I'm so proud to see this project moving forward. As you can see, I'm very excited to kick off the launch of the International District with the Arizona Asian Chamber Night Market this Friday at the Park and Ride on Camelback and 19th Avenue. There will be food, music, local vendors, cosplays, and cars. You don't want to miss it because Pikachu's going to be there. More information on the Asian Chamber Night Market. See you this weekend. The Phoenix Fire Department is launching a new lager, and we're celebrating it on Cinco de Mayo at Buki Bichu, and it's not Vichu, and it's not Viche. Join us for the food and beer. Proceeds will go to cancer programs for the firefighters. As always, contact my office and send me an email. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go next to Councilwoman Guardado and then Councilmember Galindo Elvira.
Thank you, Mayor. It's heating up in District 5, and we couldn't be more excited. We're not looking forward to 110, but things are happening in D5. Swim lessons registration opens this Thursday, April 25th. Swim lessons at the city pools will be available for adults and youth ages 6 months and older. Registration for June classes begins on April 25th at 12 p.m. Swim lessons dates are staggered throughout the summer as listed below. Session A, June 3rd through the 13th. Session B, June 17th through the 27th. Thanks to 10,000 generous donations, a select number of swim lessons will be provided at a discounted rate. Register online for swim lessons. To find more information about specific pools and office hours, call 602-534-6587 or email aquatics.pks@Phoenix.gov. And remember, if you register your children and they don't show up to the first swimming lesson, their spot will open up for someone else that's on the waiting list. Family Paint in the Park at Homestead Park this Saturday, April 27th. Join us for Family Paint in the Park, the second event in the series of Homestead Park at 26th Avenue in Glendale. There will be free family-friendly activities, and it will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Paint materials and supplies will be provided. Support our ongoing efforts to reactivate this park and make a clean and safe area for the neighborhood to enjoy. Dia del Niño event at Pendergast Community Center, also this Saturday, April 27th. Our partners at La Campesina 101.9 Phoenix will be hosting a big free celebration of El Día de los Niños, Children's Day. It's a big deal in Mexico. The event will be at the Pendergast Community Center, 10550 West Mariposa Street, near the southeast corner of 107th Avenue and Camelback Road. There will be 1,000 free toys, bicycles, and live music. There will also be food for sale. This day is all about our children, so let's make a great one for them. Also, on Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, join us for an amazing Maryville Mercado. And Cinco de Mayo is La Batalla de Puebla, not Mexican Independence Day. I know people get that confused. Join us to celebrate Cinco de Mayo on Sunday, May 5th, at our last Maryville Mercado of the season. It will be at the 55th Avenue Linear Park between Campbell and Glen Rosa Avenue from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Help us make the big celebration the best yet with our small businesses, local artists, and performers. From unique crafts to delicious eats, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Check out our first ever Cinco de Mayo celebration at the Maryville Mercado. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll go next to the councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. First, it's an honor to represent the people of District 7. I'm eager to work for and with the great, hardworking families of the district. Let me begin by noting that this past Friday, I was fortunate to recognize 4 District 7 residents for their dedication to serving the community. Molly McCurdy represents the next generation of community leaders, bringing fresh ideas and energy to Grand Avenue and surrounding neighborhoods. Her initiatives from organizing festivals to starting a block watch are fostering a stronger sense of community and preserving the area's unique character. Blanca Minerva Jacome Perez is a shining example of community leadership. Her dedication to youth empowerment through cultural dance and substance abuse prevention is commendable. She not only provides a safe space for at-risk youth, but also addresses issues of food accessibility through gardening classes. Blanca Minerva Jacome Pérez es ejemplar por su liderazgo comunitario. Su dedicación a jóvenes los empodera con ballet folclórico y contra abuso de drogas. No solamente ayuda a jóvenes, sino también habla y actúa cerca de temas de comida accesible y jardinería. Jessica McClemens' dedication to enhancing Hyde Park is inspiring. She has spearheaded initiatives like mural installations, neighborhood branding, and tree planting, all aimed at instilling a sense of community pride. Her tireless efforts, including personal investment, embodies the spirit of proactive community engagement and serves as a role model for residents looking to make a difference in their surroundings. Jeanette Arns is founder of Redeemed Neighborhoods, a beacon of hope in the fight against substance abuse, particularly among our youth in the Levine area. Through tireless outreach efforts, community cleanups, and educational initiatives, she is effectively raising awareness about the dangers of drug use, including the lethal threat of fentanyl. Each awardee exemplifies the spirit of service and dedication to improving our neighborhoods. Congratulations to the awardees for their outstanding contributions to District 7. I encourage more residents to visit volunteer.Phoenix.gov to learn more about how their volunteerism and how they can get involved in the community. Next, I want to extend my appreciation to the Phoenix Light Rail team and Valley Metro for hosting the Fiesta on Central and South Phoenix this past Saturday. I joined Councilwoman Pastor, and together with over 300 attendees and 35 vendors, we celebrated. It was no coincidence that we both wore green. Green means go. And despite a do-over election, a worldwide pandemic, and supply chain issues, the South Central Extension is 80% complete. In the coming weeks, art fixtures with a nod to the rich diversity of South Phoenix will begin installation. It's important to note that this project would not have been possible without the steadfast support of former Congressman Ed Pastor. His legacy lives on with each stretch of light rail in Phoenix. If you're a resident of District 7 and you're wondering how to get in touch with me, it's quite simple. Please feel free to reach out via any of the following channels. I'm here to serve you, and I value your input immediately and immensely. Whether it's a suggestion for improving our community, a problem that needs addressing, or simply a question you need answered, don't hesitate to get in touch. Mayor, this concludes my updates. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Hitting the ground running. Any additional updates? All right, then we will turn to our final 4 update, and I will introduce Deputy City Manager John Chan to kick off the presentation.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Mayor and members of the City Council. We are delighted to be here today to provide a recap of the successes and outcomes of the 2024 NCAA Men's Final Four. Joining me at the table are Phoenix Convention Center Director Jerry Harper and City Major Events Administrator Eric George. Just 2 weeks ago, Greater Phoenix hosted the Final Four for the second time since 2017. March Madness concluded with the final game between Purdue and UConn at State Farm Stadium being the 3rd highest attended championship game in NCAA history. During Final Four weekend, downtown Phoenix played host to student athletes, coaches, alumni, and thousands of basketball fans, as many of the community and fan-facing events were hosted in city-owned facilities, including our outstanding convention center and urban parks. We'd like to begin today's presentation with a short video highlighting the sights and sounds of the 2024 Men's Final Four. As you can see, downtown Phoenix was brimming with activity, and at this point, I'll turn it over to Jerry and Eric.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the City Council. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about the successes of the NCAA Men's Final Four. We're really excited anytime that we have the opportunity to come and speak to some of the finer details of these types of events, especially how it impacts the city and the valley as a whole. Joining me to my left is the City Major Events Administrator, Eric George, and we're going to go through a number of different topics this afternoon as we wrap up this Final Four activity. So one of the things we're going to talk about is media and exposure that this event brought to the Valley. We're going to do a deeper dive into the attendance numbers. We're also going to talk about all of the events that happened in the city of Phoenix. We're going to speak to the public coordination between all of the city departments and downtown partners that helped to facilitate the activity that was related to the Final Four. And we're also going to speak to the social impacts. It's very important to the NCAA that when they go into a destination, that they leave a lasting legacy when they're here. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail about that. John mentioned that this is the second time that the men's Final Four was hosted here in Phoenix. I think that it's worth noting that prior to 2017, the last time that this event was this far west was in 1995 when it was held at the Seattle Kingdom. I say that so that you know that it has been very rare for an event of this magnitude associated with the NCAA to come this far west. And the fact that we had them here in 2017 and just 7 years later in 2024 really is a testament to the team that we have here together and how we're able to facilitate such a successful event that they were really excited to come back here, and we were really excited to have them. Another thing that I wanted to talk about before we go into some of the numbers about the overall reach of this event is to really speak to the impact that this event had on our hotels, particularly the hotels in downtown Phoenix. When you look at year-over-year numbers from the Friday just before the Friday that the semifinal games were played through Monday, which is when the championship game was played, year-over-year, occupancy in the downtown hotels was up 61%. ADR was up a whopping 115%. And if that sounds impressive, RevPAR, which is revenue per available room, was up 240% year over year. That's significant. What's also significant is the amount of people that watched these games that were held out in Glendale at State Farm Stadium. As you can see on the slide, it was over 40 million people that watched both the semifinal and the final games. One thing that I want to note is ad agencies, when they were purchasing 30-second ad space during the men's Final Four, that cost about $1 million for the men's championship game. For the women's championship game, it was about $500,000, which is expected to go up as that event gains popularity. I mention that because we like to look at the men's Final Four as a week-long commercial for the city of Phoenix and for the valley as a whole. And when you think about the number of eyes that were on this destination, not just from watching the game, but from watching all of the different sports channels that were covering the event, like everything that the local news networks from the teams that were lucky enough to make it here, the amount of reach and the amount of value for that week-long commercial is almost immeasurable. When you look at the social engagements, what you see on the slide before you is really just speaking to the engagements on the NCAA-owned social media properties. Just under 3 million, that's a lot of engagements. I really think that credit is due to the Convention Center's marketing team and the City of Phoenix's main communications office, because they also were very active as soon as March Madness started through the end of the championship. Their reach, their engagements was over 42,000. And I think that that was significant because they really put a lot of work into not only delivering entertaining content for people to engage with them on social media, but informative content, because it's very important that we made sure that everyone here within the city of Phoenix knew how they could participate in these events, even if they were not those people that were able to go to the actual games that took place in Glendale. I think it's also worth noting, I think the mayor was quick to point out to me that the Jonas Brothers actually liked one of the posts from the main comms, and also the Black Keys reshared one of those posts as well. So when you see celebrities engaging with your content, I think that means you're doing something right. Now, I'd like to pass it over to our City Major Events Administrator, Eric George, and he's going to do a deeper dive into the numbers.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Mayor, members of council. I wanted to talk a little bit about the attendance of the games. The games themselves, of course, were played out in Glendale at State Farm Stadium, and you can see on the screen here the robust attendance numbers that we saw. The third highest in championship game history in terms of 74,000 plus fans at that game. And it's important to note that the second highest on that top three list was in 2017 when it was right here in the Valley previously. So, over 2,000 credentialed media members. Another highlight to point out, speaking to that commercial that Jerry mentioned, is our opportunity to tell our story and get our valley out on a global platform. And of course, 50 of 50 states represented, to see how many people are coming from outside the region, of course, to check out our destination for themselves. This slide shows kind of an overview of some of the events that were touched on, and then I'll dive into each of these a little bit deeper here in just a moment. But I think just collectively, it helps illustrate the number of people, the number of impacts that we were able to make on visitors and locals who attended these Final Four related events that were here in downtown as well as out at the stadium in Glendale with the tip-off tailgate and the Final Four Friday events. So let's talk about what was here in Phoenix. So for 4 days at the Phoenix Convention Center, we had the Men's Final Four Fan Fest presented by Capital One. Over those 4 days, over 52,000 attendees walked through the doors to partake in different games and activations, get autographs from their favorite players, and basically partake in a sports wonderland, this little amusement park that was transformed in our convention center. And of course, visit the team shop for all their souvenir needs, right? This was a low-cost event, and in fact, City of Phoenix saw broad attendance from all across our city. The March Madness Music Festival is a 3-day free event, totally free to attend for visitors and locals alike. It's a signature event for Final Four weekend. I think these pictures really tell a great story when you see the ones from the helicopter up above, the ones from the stage side, and the aerial shots certainly show the magnitude of the event and how wonderful our park was transformed into this awesome event. Over the 3 days, 67,451 attendees visited Hance Park to take in the March Madness Music Festival. Headlining acts from Zedd to the Jonas Brothers to Black Keys and Mumford & Sons on Sunday. Great 3 days, a very exciting lineup, and a lot of enthusiasm, and a lot of fun was had by all. I think we've all seen the Men's Final Four dribble presented by Buick, kind of everyone's favorite, seeing the little ones dribble basketballs through downtown from Heritage Square to Fan Fest at the Convention Center. 3,000 dribblers went through downtown, which means, of course, that with them were their parents and guardians and family members alike. So a very exciting Sunday morning. You can see the illustration there of all the basketballs waiting for the young ones to come pick them up. It was definitely a fun morning for everyone who participated in that event. I should note that there were some basketballs remaining at the end, and they were able to donate those to our local Parks and Rec department to use at community centers across the city. In addition to the fan events, the National Association of Basketball Coaches hosts their convention in the Final Four city each year. So we had nearly 4,000 coaches who descended on our destination to take in clinics and meetings and different meetings with their colleagues from around the country. And a lot of these folks stayed in our downtown hotels or in light rail adjacent hotel properties, were able to come into the downtown. So great opportunity to showcase our convention center and our downtown at large to these convention goers from the NABC convention. I mentioned light rail just a moment ago. Light rail, as many of you probably are already aware, was sponsored and free for those individuals who are attending the Final Four events. Those sponsored rides were incredibly popular, and light rail ridership increased 16% year over year for the 4 days of the Final Four events. Over 130,000 riders over the course of the weekend took advantage of light rail, including nearly 40,000 on Friday, when downtown was abuzz with other activities as well, including the First Friday, a Suns home game, and so much more, including the March Madness Music Festival and the Fan Fest at the Convention Center. That Sunday, light rail ridership saw a year-over-year increase of 41% when people were coming to those Fan Fest and music festival events. Bus ridership was up significantly as well, as the Route 70 that goes out to Glendale on Saturday for the semifinal games saw a 40% increase in ridership going out towards Glendale. Great job by a public transit team, for sure. And airport coordination. The airport was definitely busy over at Sky Harbor, from the team arrivals, as you see in some of the photos to the right there, with the cheer teams from Alabama and the coaching staff from NC State coming into town. But over the course of those 4 days, over 365,000 passengers were screened through TSA, which also nearly 175,000 bags were processed, yet average TSA wait time remained only 6.4 minutes. Over 30,000 rental cars were checked out. The SkyTrain was busy as it's ever been, 260,000 riders. And charter operations, of course, were active as well, both at Sky Harbor, Deer Valley, and Goodyear Airport. So we had to do some robust coordination to make sure that the community was aware of all these things that were happening in our city. And the Community and Economic Development Department did a great job leading this working group to help get the word out, with 11 neighborhood and community meetings to various associations, 2 business permitting workshops to let small business owners know if they wanted to activate their businesses in a different or new way, that there was an opportunity to do that, and what kind of permits were necessary to make sure they were following our city rules. And 2 downtown stakeholder forums, really just to get the information out to downtown businesses and residents alike, so that they knew what was coming to our destination. Neighborhood notification postcards were delivered via mail to a 1-mile radius around both Hance Park and Heritage Square. Nearly 6,300 recipients received those postcards. There were over 200 email contacts that were reached out to directly, and we also pounded the pavement a little bit. 65 businesses were visited on street level to make sure they were prepared and ready for the activity that would be coming. One real point of pride over the course of the Final Four weekend was some of our green and sustainability initiatives. Public Works Department did a fantastic job by initially setting the goal of a zero waste event. A zero waste event is defined as having 90% of the waste diverted from the landfill. Proud to let you know that there was a 94.2% diversion rate for this event for all the activities at the convention center and the wire racks that were placed supplementally around the area. That means that over 51 tons of waste from these fan events were diverted from the landfill. So fantastic job for everyone involved with that initiative. Another great community initiative that the Final Four brings to town is the Read to the Final Four. This is a literacy initiative for 3rd graders. Over 15,000 Arizona students participated. The NCAA puts a focus on this 3rd grader initiative because there's a direct correlation between successful outcomes at a 3rd grade proficiency level and then your success later in life in attending college. So obviously the NCAA, as a college support organization, they wanted to make sure that that is a focus of what they bring to town to make a lasting impact on our area. So as I mentioned, over 15,000 Arizona students participated from 59 districts. 241 schools participated this time around. 150 of those were Title I schools, that's 62%, that were on free or reduced lunch programs. Over 20 million minutes were read by these students. Fantastic job. I have a 10-year-old home, and I admire their ability to reach these milestones. And one of the really cool things I saw Friday morning when this was announced to the Final Four teams in their bracket-style competition that came down to the convention center and then went out to the stadium for Final Four Friday. They were informed that the band and cheer teams from UConn and Purdue, who were participating in the championship, assembled bicycles to be donated to those top 2 schools. So that was a pretty cool announcement as well that the kids were pretty excited about, that they didn't know about coming into that day. Next, I want to mention the Men's Final Four Legacy Project presented by Degree. This was a wonderful project. It was a collaboration between the Parks Department, the NCAA, Degree Deodorant, and the local organizing committee. Eastlake Community Center got a new indoor basketball court, new bleachers, wall pads, benches, a scoreboard with a shot clock, adjustable hoops so children of all ages could participate, new backboards, new flooring in the weight room, and new weight equipment that you see on the upper left there. And the outdoor basketball court was refinished as well, with new hoops, new backboards. And of course, kind of the crown jewel of this project really turned out to be the mural that was put on the outside. As you see, this mural was done to highlight a number of prominent members of the Eastlake community, including Councilman Good, who's there front and center. I think that was definitely a point of pride for that community and all the members that came out to see that unveiling the week of Final Four. So lastly, before we break for the day, I just wanted to kind of issue a thank you to all the different partners and different city departments that helped execute all the events that took place. The NCAA was a great partner, as well as the Phoenix Local Organizing Committee. Our partners like Valley Metro, Downtown Phoenix, Inc., and Visit Phoenix, of course, were critical strategic partners in helping to execute all the things that we talked about today and the various successes that we saw over the course of the event. So thank you, everyone who's here, and those who aren't. And then looking ahead, we're not quite done, right? The Men's Final Four Economic Impact Study will be conducted by the local organizing committee in partnership with Arizona State, the host institution, and we'll have information about that in the coming months that we'll be able to report back to you on what that looks like. And then we'll be gearing up for some other major events in the coming months and years. This summer, in July of 2024, we have the WNBA All-Star Game coming to Phoenix. And then in 2026, the NCAA Women's Final Four will come here to right here to downtown Phoenix. And then in 2027, we have the NBA All-Star Game. So a bit of a mecca of basketball over the next couple of years, but I know that we're all really excited for that challenge and looking forward to those events as well. At this time, we'd be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you to all of Team Phoenix for delivering a great win for our region and our city. Appreciate the NCAA for partnering with us. And thank you to all our partners, including but not limited to the local organizing committee, Valley Metro, Visit Phoenix, Downtown Phoenix, Inc., and more. It really was a great effort, and we worked together to welcome the teams, put on great games, and show off the best of our city, delivering for our third graders, our parks programs, and so much more. Also want to add that it was a privilege to host the HBCU All-Star Game and highlight those great student athletes as well, and they even came by City Hall. I could get used to cheerleaders in City Hall. It kind of brings some good energy and a marching band. That was lovely. Councilmember questions or comments? Councilwoman Hodge-Washington.
I'll echo the mayor's comments. Thank you to everyone that made sure that we were able to present the best of Phoenix on our world stage. We provided a first-class experience, and we had a lot of wonderful press as a result. So thank you for everyone that was able to make that a possibility. I also wanted to highlight, the mayor kind of stole it from me, that in addition to two parks in my district were able to benefit from having this project here in City of Phoenix. As we saw, Eastlake was one of the beneficiaries of the Legacy Project, and as well as Grant Park also was the Legacy Project chosen by the HBCU All-Star Game. So two parks in my district were able to reap the benefits of that national press. So thank you. Many times we are focused on the economic benefits, but I also was very happy to see some of the community benefits, some of the longer lasting legacies that you're seeing as a result of the Final Four being held here in Phoenix. So thank you to everyone for all of your hard work in doing so, and let's do it again soon.
Councilwoman O'Brien.
I just have one question. Are you really going to let us take 2025 off?
We do have an opening, so we need to fill it, and Ron Price is here, so we'll be working closely with Ron.
I figured y'all were working on something.
For people watching online, Ron is up for it. Awesome. Well, thank you to everyone from Public Works to the folks at the hotels and restaurants and downtown businesses who really stepped up to put on a great show for us. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
You must be bringing.
Sheriff Penzone shared that the town of Guadalupe has had a significant crime increase since the Department of Justice has been in Maricopa County's business. They can't do anything about it because it would be considered a significant operation, and they would need special approval to do that.
Well, the committee you chair, Public Safety, we've been addressing the officer shortage. We budgeted for, I believe the number is 3,125 officers, which is still short of the all-time high, which is more like 3,300.